that time, Harry was really pushing for me to go out on a few dates with Brig Thomas. Brig was a former child star and matinee idol who, honest to God, thought he might be the Messiah. Just standing next to him, I thought I might drown in self-adoration cascading off him. One Friday night, Brig and I met with Harry in Gwendolyn Peters, a few blocks from Chassains. Gwen put me in a dress, hose, and heels. She put my hair in an updo. Brig showed up in dungarees and a t-shirt, and Gwen put him in a nice suit. We drove Harry's brand new crimson Cadillac Piriats the half mile to the front door. People were taking pictures of Brig and me before we even got out of the car. We were escorted to a circular booth where the two of us packed ourselves in tight together. I ordered a Shirley Temple. How old are you, sweetheart? Brig asked me. 18, I said. So I bet you had my picture up in your wall, huh? It took everything I had not to grab my drink and throw it right at his face. Instead, I smiled politely as possible and said, "How did you know?" Photographers snapped shots as we sat together. We pretended not to see them, making it look as if we were laughing together, arm in arm. An hour later, we were back with Harry and Gwendolyn, changing into our normal clothes. Just before Brig and I said goodbye, he turned and smiled at me. "Gonna be a lot of rumors about you and me tomorrow," I said. "Sure are. Let me know if you want to make him true." I should have kept quiet. I should have just smiled nicely, but instead I said, "Don't hold your breath." Brig looked at me and laughed, and then waved to say goodbye, as if I hadn't just insulted him. "Can you believe that guy?" I said. Harry had already opened my door and was waiting for me to get into the car. "That guy makes us a lot of money," he said as I sat down. Harry got on the other side and turned the key in the ignition, but didn't start driving. Instead, he looked at me. "I'm not saying you should be dallying around too much with these actors you don't like," he said, "but it would do you some good if you liked one. If things progress past a photo op or two, the studio would like it. The fans would like it." Naively, I had thought. I was done pretending we liked the attention of every man I came across. "Okay," I said, rather petulantly, "I'll try." And while I knew it was the best thing for my career, I grinned through my teeth on dates with Pete Greer and Bobby Donovan. But then Harry set me up on a date with Don Adler, and I forgot why I would ever have resented the idea in the first place. Don Adler invited me out to Mocambo, without a doubt, the hottest club in town, and he picked me up at my apartment. I opened the door to see him in a nice suit with a bouquet of lilies. He was just a few inches taller than me, in my heels, light brown hair, hazel eyes, square jaw, kind smile that, the moment you saw it, made you smile. It was the smile his mother had been famous for. "And now, on a handsomer face, for you," he said, just a bit shyly. "Wow," I said, taking them from him. "They're gorgeous. Come in, come in." I put them in water. I was wearing a bow-neck sapphire blue cocktail dress, my hair up in a chignon. I grabbed the vase from the underneath of the sink, turned the water on. "You don't have to do all this," I said, as Don stood in my kitchen waiting for me. "Well," he said, "I wanted to. I've been hounding Harry to meet you for a while, so it was the least I could do to make you feel special. I put the flowers in the counter. Shall we?" Don nodded and took my hand. "I saw father and daughter," he said when we were in his convertible and headed over the Sunset Strip. "Oh yeah, and he showed me says he thinks it's going to be a big hit. Says he thinks you're going to be a big hit. And what do you think? We were stopped at a red light on Highland. Don't look at me. I think you're the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen in my life. Oh, stop. I said. I found myself laughing, blushing even. Truly, and real talent too. When the movie ended, I looked right at Ari and said, that's the girl for me. You did not, I said. Tom put up his hand, scouts on her. There's absolutely no reason a man like Don Adler should have a different effect on me from the rest of the men in the world. He was no more handsome than Brick Thomas, no more earnest than Ernie Diaz, and he couldn't offer me stardom whether I loved him or not. But these things defy reason. I blame pheromones, ultimately. That, and the fact that, at least at first, Don Adler treated me like a person. There are people who see a beautiful flowers and rush to pick it. They want to hold it in their hands. They want to own it. They want the flower's beauty to be theirs, to be within their possession, their control. Tom wasn't like that, at least not at first. Tom was happy to be near the flower, to look at the flower, to appreciate the flower simply being. Here's the thing about marrying a guy like that, a guy like Don Adler, back then. You're saying to him this beautiful thing. You've been happy to simply appreciate. Well, now it's yours to own. Dan and I partied the night away at the Mocambo. It was a real scene, crowds outside, packed tight, as sardines trying to get in. Inside, a celebrity playground, tables upon tables filled with famous people, high ceilings, incredible stage acts, and birds everywhere, actually live birds in glass aviaries. Don introduced me to a few actors from NGM and Warner Brothers. I met Bonnie Lakeland, who had just gone freelance and made it big with Money Honey. I heard more than once someone refer to Don as the Prince of Hollywood, and I found it charming. When he turned to me, after the third time someone said it and whispered, "They're underestimating me. I'll be king of these days. I'll be king one of these days." Don and I stayed at Mocambo well past midnight, dancing together until our feet hurt. Every time a song ended, we said we were going to sit down, but once a new one started, we refused to leave the floor. He drove me home. The streets quiet at the late hour of the light dim all over town. When we got to my apartment, he walked me to my door. He didn't ask to come in. He just said, "When can I see you again?" "Call Harry and make a date," I said. Don't put his hand on the door. "No," he said. "Really, me and you." "And the cameras," I said. "If you want them to be there, fine," he said. "If you don't, neither do I." He smiled, sweet, teasing smile. I laughed. "Okay," I said. "How about next Friday?" Don thought about it a second. "Can I tell you the truth about something, if you must? I'm scheduled to go on a Troncadero with Natalie Amber next Friday night." "Oh." It's a name that Adler name, since it's trying to squeeze all the fame out of me that they can. I shook my head. "I don't think it's just a name." I told him, "I've seen Brothers in Arms. You're great." The whole audience loved it. Don looked at me shyly and smiled. "You really think so?" I laughed. He knew it was true. He just liked hearing it out of my mouth. "I will give you the satisfaction," I said. "I wish you would. Enough of that." I told him, "I've told you when I'm free. You do with it what you will." He stood tall, listening to what I had to say, as if I'd giving him orders. "Okay, I'll cancel Natalie then. I'll pick you up here on Friday at as as a show of just how excited Sunset was about my new persona, they credited me in the beginning of the movie introducing Evelyn Hugo. It was the first and only time my name was under the marquee. On opening night, I thought of my mother. I knew that if she could have been there with me, she would have been beaming. I did it. I wanted to tell her. We were both out of there. When the movie did well, I thought Sunset would certainly greenlight Little Women, but Ari wanted Ed Baker and me in another movie as fast as possible. We didn't do sequels back then. Instead, we would essentially just make the same movie again with a different name and a slightly different concept. So, we commenced shooting on Next Door. I had played my uncle who had taken me in after my parents died. The two of us quickly fell into respective romantic entanglements with a widowed mother and son who lived next to us. Don was shooting a thriller on the lot at the same time, and he used to come visit me every day when his set broke for lunch. I was absolutely smitten, in love and lust for the very first time. I found myself brightening up in the moment I set eyes on him, always finding reasons to touch him, reasons to bring him up in conversation when he wasn't around. Harry was sick of hearing about him. "Ev, honey, I'm serious," Harry said one afternoon in his office when the two of us were sharing a drink. "I've had it up to my eyeballs with Don Adler talk. I visited Harry about once a day back then, just to check in, see how he was doing. I always made it seem like business, but even then I knew it was the closest thing I had to a friend. Sure, I'll become friendly with a lot of the other actresses at Sunset. Ruby Riley, in particular, was a favorite of mine. She was tall and lean, with a dynamite laugh and an air of detachment to her. She never minced words, but she could charm the pants off of almost anybody. Sometimes Ruby and I and some other girls on the lot would grab lunch and gossip about various going on, but to be honest, I would have thrown every single one of them in front of a moving train to get apart, and I think they would have done the same to me. Intimacy is impossible without trust, and we would have been idiots to trust each other, but Harry was different. Harry and I both wanted the same thing. We wanted Evelyn Hugo to be a household name. Also, we just liked each other. We can talk about Dawn, or we can talk about when you're green-lighting Little Women, I said, teasingly. Harry laughed. It's not up to me, you know that. Well, why is Harry dragging his feet? You don't want to do Little Women right now, Harry said. It's better if you give it a few months. I most certainly do want to do it right now. Harry shook his head and stood up, pouring himself another glass of scotch. He didn't offer me a second martini, and I knew it was because he knew I wouldn't have had the first one to begin with. I shouldn't have had the first one to begin with. You could really be big, Harry said. Everybody's saying so. If Next Door does as well as Father and Daughter, and you and Dawn keep going the way you have been, you could be a big deal. I know, I said. That's what I'm banking on. You want Little Women to come out just when people are thinking that you only know how to do one thing. What do you mean? You had a huge hit with Father and Daughter. People know you can be funny. They know you're adorable. They know. They liked you in that picture. Sure. Now you're gonna do it again. You're going to show them that you can recreate the magic. You're not just a one-trick pony. Alright. Maybe you do a picture with Dawn after all. They can't print pictures of the two of you dancing at the Cheetos or the Troncadero fast enough. But hear me out, you and just when everyone is thinking they know you and they get Evelyn Hugo, you play Joe. You knock everybody's socks off. Now the audience is going to think to themselves, I knew she was something special. But why can't I just do Little Women now? And they'll think that now. Harry shook his head. Because you have to give them time to invest in you. You have to give them time to get to know you. You're saying I should be predictable. I'm saying you should be predictable and then do something unpredictable. And they'll love you forever. I listened to him though. I thought about it. You're just feeding me a line, I said. Harry laughed. Look, it's out his plan. Like it or not. He wants you in a few more pictures before he's gonna give you Little Women. But he's gonna give you Little Women. Alright, I said. What choice do I have really? My contract with Sunset was for another 3 years. If I caused too much trouble, they had an option to drop me at any time. They couldn't lure me over. They could loan me out, force me to take projects, put me on leave without pay, you name it. They couldn't do anything they could do anything they wanted. Sunset owned me. Your job now, Harry said, is to see if you can make Your job now, Harry said, is to see if you can make a real go of it with Dawn. It's in both of your best interest. I laughed. Oh, now you want to talk about Dawn? Harry smiled. I don't want to stay here and listen to you talk about how dreamy he is. That's boring. I want to know if the two of you might be ready to make it official. Dawn and I have been sitting around town, our photos taken at every hot spot in Hollywood. Dinner at Dana's, lunch at Vine Street Derby, tennis at the Beverly Hills Tennis Club, and we knew what we were doing, parading around in public. I needed Dawn's name mentioned in the same sentence as mine, and Dawn needed to look like he was a part of the new Hollywood. Photos of two of us double dating with other stars went a long way towards solidifying his image as a man about town. But he and I never talked about any of that because we were generally happy to be around each other. The fact that it was helping our careers felt like a bonus. The night of the premiere of his movie Big Trouble, Tom picked me up wearing a sleek, dark suit and holding a Tiffany box. What's this? I asked him. I was wearing a black and purple coral. A purple, floral, Christian Dior. Open it, Don said, smiling. Inside it was a giant, platinum and diamond ring. It was braided on the sides with a square cut jewel in the middle. I gasped. Are you? I knew it had been coming, if only because I knew Dawn wanted to sleep with me so bad it was nearly killing him. I'd been resisting him despite his very overt advances, but it was getting harder to do. The more we kissed in dark places, the more we found ourselves alone in the backs of limousines, the harder it was for me to push him away. I never had that feeling before. Physical yearning. I never felt what it is to ache to be touched. Until dawn, I would find myself next to him, desperate to feel his hands on my bare skin. And I loved the idea of making love to someone. I had sex before, but it never meant anything to me. I wanted to make love with Dawn. I loved him, and I wanted us to do it right. And here it was, a marriage proposal. I put my hand out to touch the ring to make sure it was real. Dawn shut the box before I could. I'm not asking you to marry me, he said. What? I felt foolish. Oh my god, my eye. What? I felt foolish. I had allowed myself to dream too big. Here I was, Evelyn Herrera, parading around, as if my name was Evelyn Hugo and I could marry a movie star. At least not yet. I tried to hide my disappointment. Have it your way then, I said, turning away from him to grab my couch. Don't be sour, Don said. Who's sour? I said. We walked out of my apartment, and I shut the front door behind me. I'm going to ask you tonight. His voice was pleading, nearly apologetic. At the premiere, in front of everyone, I softened. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to know. Don't grab my hand. I got down on one knee. He didn't open the ring box again. He just looked at me sincerely. Will you say yes? We should go, I said. You can't be late to your own movie. Will you say yes? That's all I need to know. I looked right at him and said, Yes, you fool. I'm mad for you. He grabbed me and kissed me. It hurt a little. His teeth hit my lower lip. I was going to get married to someone I loved this time, to someone who made me feel the way I was pretending to feel in movies. What could be any further from tiny apartment and house kitchen than this? An hour later, on the red carpet, in a sea of photographers and publicists, Don Adler got on one knee. Evelyn Hugo, will you marry me? I cried and nodded. He stood up and put a ring on my finger, and then he picked me up and spun me in the air. As Don put me back down, I saw Harry Cameron by the theater door, clapping for us. He gave me a wink. Sub Rosa, Don and Ev forever. You heard it here first, folks. Hollywood's newest it couple, Don Adler and Evelyn Hugo, are tying the knot. The most eligible of eligible bachelors had chosen none other than the sparkling blonde starlet to be his bride. The two have been seen canoodling and cavorting all over it, and now they decided to make it official. Rumor has it that Mary and Roger Adler, Don, oh so proud parents, couldn't be happier to have Evelyn join the family. You can bet on your bottom dollar that the nuptials will be an event to see soon. With a Hollywood family this glamorous and a bride this beautiful, the whole town will be talking. We had a beautiful wedding. 300 guests, hosted at Mary and Roger Adler. Ruby was my maid of honor. I wore a jeweled neck taffeta gown, covered with rose point lace, with sleeves down to my wrist, and a full lace skirt. It was designed by Vivian Worley, the head costumer for Sunset. Gwendolyn did my hair, pulled back into a simple but flawless bun, to which my jewel veil was attached. There wasn't much of the wedding that was planned by us. It was controlled almost entirely by Mary and Roger, and the rest by Sunset. Tom was expected to play the game exactly the way his parents wanted it played. Even then, I could tell he was eager to get out of their shadow, to eclipse their stardom with his own. Don had been raised to believe the fame was the only power worth pursuing, and what I loved about him was that he was ready to become the most powerful person in any room by becoming the most adored. And while our wedding might have been at the whim of others, our love and our commitment to each other felt sacred. When Don and I looked in each other's eye and held hands as we said I do at the Beverly Hills Hotel, it felt like it was just the two of us up there, despite being surrounded by half Hollywood. Towards the end of the night, after the wedding bells and our announcement as married couple, Harry pulled me aside. He asked me how I was doing. He asked me how I was doing. I'm the most famous bride in the world right now, I said. I'm great, Harry laughed. You'll be happy, he asked, with Don. Is he going to take good care of you? I have no doubt about it. I believed it in my heart that I'd found someone who wasn't attracted to Harry Cameron, despite the fact that he was categorically attractive man, a categorically attractive man. No, I said, I don't think I did, but you wanted me to want something to happen. I smiled. And what if I did? That's so wrong. I'm an actress, Harry. Don't forget that. Harry laughed. You have actress written all over your face. I remember it every single day. Then why, Harry? What's the truth? Harry took a sip of his scotch, took his arm off of me. It's hard to explain. Try. You're young. I waved him off. Most men don't seem to have any problem with little things like that. My own husband is 7 years older than me. I looked over to see Dawn, swaying with his mother on the dance floor. Mary was still gorgeous in her 50s. She had came to fame during the silent film era and did a few talkies before retiring. She was tall and intimidating, with a face that was striking more than anything. Harry took another swig of his scotch, put his glass down, and looked thoughtful. It's a long and complicated story, but suffice to say, you've just never been my type. The way he said it, I knew he was trying to tell me something. Harry wasn't interested in girls like me. Harry wasn't interested in girls at all. You're my best friend in the world, Harry, I said. Do you know that? He smiled. I got the impression he did so because he was charmed and because he was relieved. He revealed himself, however vaguely, and I was meeting him with acceptance, however indirectly. Am I really? He asked. I nodded. Well, then you'll be mine. I raised my glass to him. Best friends tell each other everything, I said. He smiled, raising his own glass. I don't buy that, he teased. Not for 1 minute. Dawn came over and interrupted us. Would you mind, terribly Cameron, if I dance with my bride? Harry put his hand up, as if surrendered. She's all yours. That she is. I took Dawn's hand, and he twirled me around the dance floor. He looked right into my eyes. He really looked at me, really saw me. Do you love me, Evelyn Hugo? He asked. More than anything in the world. Do you love me, Dawn Adler? I love your eyes, your tits, your talent. I love the fact that you got absolutely no ass on you. I love everything about you. So to say yes would be an understatement. I laughed and kissed him. We were surrounded by people, packed on the dance floor. His father Roger was smoking a cigar with Harry Sullivan in the corner. I felt a million miles away from my old life. The old me, the girl who needed Ernie Diaz for anything at all. Tom pulled me close, up to his mouth, and